Hello and welcome back to the Plant Tipple. Today I'm going to show you my greenhouse. I'm in Houston, Zone 9B, and occasionally we get frost in the winter. When it gets that kind of cold, my tropical plants need somewhere that is going to help them maintain their warmth. Thus, the need for the greenhouse. I have a heater and a fan to make sure that there's actually heat in the greenhouse, because just having the greenhouse is one thing, but there still needs to be some form of heat. And I also have a fan to make sure that the air is circulating so that all of the plants in the greenhouse get heat. I have a net on the fan because it helps collect the bugs that are flying around in the greenhouse and prevents them from nesting in the plants. I put several different shelves in the greenhouse so that I could have layers to stack as many plants as possible. The back shelf is built out of PVC with some 3/8 inch rod in the inside of the PVC for structural support. I also have some meters to help me measure the humidity inside the greenhouse. That way I have an understanding of not only what the temperature is, but also what the moisture level is. Not all the plants make it. Some of the plants dry out, some of the plants need more space and more light, but what I've found is when I can fit in probably 100, maybe 115 plants, I only lose 10, 12 plants. But if I didn't have a place for them, I'd lose a lot more. I've had this greenhouse for 2 winters now, and in both winters, I've been able to keep over 100 plants alive that I wouldn't have had any other place to put them. I used to try and put as many plants as I could inside my garage and inside my bathroom, but the collection grew to such a volume that I needed another space. In an effort to protect the vulnerable members of my plant family from rodents, birds, and harsh weather, in particular a potential frost this upcoming winter, I decided to build a greenhouse. I live in Texas, in Zone 9B. Last year's frost completely wiped out my tropical and subtropical collection, and this year I'm doing everything I can to mitigate my losses. After lots of research and planning, I decided to go with an 8x6x7 structure. It's not the biggest greenhouse by any means, but it's large enough for me to fit 60 or more of my plants and propagations. It took 15 plus hours, came with awful instructions, and tested my patience, but it was so worth it. Many of us have relocated to new places in the world, and after relocating, we had to find ways to adapt to the new environment. Just like people, many of our plants are far away from the environment they're accustomed to and need some extra support if they're going to thrive during harsh seasons. I'm hopeful this greenhouse does the trick for my plants. I don't have an automated watering system, so when the temperature permits, I pull out my hose and I make sure I give the greenhouse a very good water. In years prior, where I was worried about piping concerns and I still needed to get water inside, I had to get very creative. I ended up using 5-gallon buckets and creating a hose system that I would place the 5-gallon bucket on top of the shed and let the gravity push the water down, and then use that pressure on the makeshift hose I created to spray down the plants. I placed the greenhouse up against the fence. I also dug down a few inches into the soil and made sure that the greenhouse was buried. Then I placed bricks around the outside edge so that if wind or storms or rain came, the greenhouse was structurally stable and did not blow or float away. I've also invited a lot of wildlife to my garden in the last few years, and the bricks help keep the wildlife out of the greenhouse. I also bought a shade cloth that I use to cover the greenhouse because many of the plants I have inside don't want direct sunlight, and the amount of Texas sun we get in this direction is too harsh for them, so they needed shade. Now let me show you a few things that are inside the greenhouse. So now that it's warming up in Houston, I'll be taking these plants out and we'll be trying to grow some strawberries inside, trying to keep them away from the squirrels. Tune in next time for more videos on the plant temple and all of the different things that we're growing and trying to do to support our peace, balance, and harmony. Don't forget to check out How to Grow, Nurture Your Garden, Nurture Yourself, a personal growth book written through the lens of the garden. And until the next time, everyone, let's grow together.